totally asleep. Get down. All right. Hey guys. All right, let's see here. No, I'm not. I can't type quieter. You know I can't. It's not my gift. I'm not good at that. Ah. Okay. Brew.
What's up?
Hey, hey.
What's going on?
When Nixon, I am. Hector, Adam, I know. I type loud. It's not. I'm not. I'm just not good at the whole, typing quietly thing. It's not my gift. I feel like maybe. Does it seem like the connection is a little slow to you at all?
No, your lips moving around along with the sound, so it's on. It's on, baby.
It's on, baby. Now I just got to worry about Caleb and maybe his Walmart Wi-Fi, wherever he is. I don't know where he's at right now. Here he is. All right, let's check him out. All right. There he is.
What's up?
Yeah, I was typing it, but I'll say this in person. Damn you.
Oh, man.
I would apologize.
Yeah. No, I was trying to, it wouldn't let me share it to my page or group or anything, so.
No? Oh, that's so weird. All right, let's get Dave on here. Yeah, Adam, I do need a soft click keyboard. You are sure right.
Yes.
What's
Wilson,
up?
how you doing, son?
Dave.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, we good.
Good. Thanks for joining us again.
Y'all got me up way past my bedtime.
Man, you go to bed with the chickens like that?
Yeah, man. Mate, yeah. Y'all different time though. So.
Yeah, Central Time. It's like it's 8 is still at that time frame. And you're like, God, I really want to start winding down. But at the same time,
Yeah,
do what you got to do.
9
But we really appreciate you going past your bedtime for us, for real.
Yeah,
it's definitely.
we won't keep you on too long.
Now we're good.
Now we just gotta.
Y'all lost somebody.
We
Caleb?
did. Caleb
probably
jumped
typed.
off.
I scared him away or what?
You must have. I don't know. There's a
Yeah,
possibility.
I'm
But
out here a little better. I don't have the best Wi-Fi, so I got to go outside for good Wi-Fi.
hey, if it makes
Oh.
you feel any better, Caleb's Wi-Fi is touch and go sometimes as well. And so like we see him moving around the house.
Oh,
Mhm.
man. That's good for me. I look better under less light anyway, so we're good.
There we go. It'd be like, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. All right. So
All right, sorry about
for
that. Take
further ado, we're
two.
going to go ahead and introduce everybody. Obviously, Amanda, we've got Bruce and Caleb, and welcome to Tuesday Night Bully Talk. With us tonight is the one, the only Dave Wilson. Dave, we would love for you to go ahead and kind of give the people a little intro into kind of, who you are in the community. For those of us who don't, well, then we obviously know who you are. But for anyone viewing in that's not quite familiar with, who you are, where you started, and how you got started in bullies is usually how we like you to get into it.
Well, for those who don't know, I'm Dave Wilson, president of the ABKC, founder of Razor's Edge Bloodline, one of the co-founders of the American Bully Breed. I've been in this since the very beginning and involved in every aspect of the breed. And that pretty much sums it up.
There is a question I've been meaning to ask you for about as long as I can remember. We know that obviously your stock, Razor's Edge, is like one of the heaviest foundation stocks for our breed. And but one of the things that I want to know is, what do you, out of all the dogs that you started with, which ones do you feel were the actual foundations, like the heaviest part of creating the American Bully on your part?
Are you referring to the American Bully Breed or with Razor
Mhm.
or?
Yeah. Yeah. So like when you made the jump and you're like, I'm going to create this breed. This is the vision I have in my head. I'm going for it. Which were the starting foundation dogs that you used?
Cairo.
Because it was a slow transition. Obviously, Razor's Edge was an American Terrier blood, and really what it was. I mean, my time frame within the UKC world and Razor's Edge, my opinions, it was long before Bully Breed. It's American Pit Bull Terrier. When that transition happened in 2004, when I decided to breed for the Razor's Edge as far as the American Bully Breed is concerned, I definitely had to bring in other blood. The American Bully Edge and a few other things, but more or less got an edge. So to transition from Razor's Edge American Pit Bull Terrier to American Bully Breed, I did have to bring in blood, and I would credit that to the beginning of Gotti and Edge. As the American Bully Breed is concerned, outside of my own hands, I would have to say there's probably no big. Dax was probably the biggest influence in good and but the biggest influence in the American Bully Breed ever. That gives you two, one for.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. No, I'm here for it because I mean, obviously there was a dividing point when, this ends here, this begins here. So no, absolutely. That's what I wanted to know.
That's also
Yeah, I mean, so
because a lot of people judge the American Bully Breed and Razor's Edge going off of Razor's Edge as an American Bull Terrier, and it's two different things. I mean, my foundation bloodline was really based on staff American Terriers, UK registration in the end. So that's really the heyday of Razor's Edge. Razor's Edge and the American Bully Breed blend that blood with some guy blood, but I didn't do a lot in American Bully Breed as far as breeding. I was an breeder as the American Bully Breed probably from 2000 to 2010, and then after 2010, I had on ABKC, so my program got reverted back to more of a hobby program, than else that.
absolutely, you were a busy guy.
Yeah, I was a busy guy That's when I was a really busy guy with dogs. But once the ABKC started and it required it to come back to Virginia, 11, my different way because focus in a different direction breeding.
Yeah. Hey Dave, I'm hearing a bad echo, and some of the people in the comments are saying the same things. I'm not sure, what we could do about it, but yeah, there's a bad echo when you're talking.
On me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you have the floor and no one else is really talking. That's when I hear it the worst.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see if there's any settings that I had on here that would do that, but I think
If not, I can sign off and try back on.
It's not terrible. I can make out what you're saying. I just don't want to.
Yeah, but the echo makes it rough too. So
Yeah,
I can't. Somebody calls me and they got it, so I can't even.
yeah. They're saying some are saying it's an echo, and some are saying that the audio's choppy, which I can hear a little bit of. Like every once in a while, you'll clip out for a second, audio wise, but I don't know. I mean,
let me sign out and then try to sign back in. And the Wi-Fi is strong. It's cold, but it's,
I don't know. It sounds pretty good now on my end.
yeah.
Yeah.
You sound pretty good now.
All right. Well, you let me know.
Hey,
I gotta
Dave, let me ask you this question right here. Where did Cairo fit in your program?
Cairo.
Yeah.
To me, Cairo was my goal for the area. When Cairo was made, in all honesty, is when I pretty much slowed down my breeding in the American Pit Bull Terriers because I had pretty much reached the goal. I mean, that's what I was trying to do in the American Pit Bull Terrier, not the American Bully. Bull Terrier, he was my goal. I mean, I felt I had achieved perfection for what it was. He was produced.
Didn't he get stolen from you?
Nah, it's a long story, but long story short, I had a female here in California breeding, didn't lock the pen. Cairo's known for popping the pen and got up in the morning, both were gone. And then the female came back in the evening, she's not even from here, California dog, no clue what happened. Never did find out.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I knew he some kind of way he got lost or somebody stole him or something like that. And I just forgot what really happened.
I'm pretty sure that if I wandered in the wrong yard and something bad happened, to be honest with you, I'm out in the country and the cat just popping up in somebody's yard. And the fact the female came back without him, it just leads me more to believe that somebody probably shot him or something bad like that.
Oh,
Yeah, I hate
God.
that pretty much tore down raising for imagine creating what you feel is perfection, everything you ever want, and then losing it in the same, thing, and losing it in a way that was an uncertainty. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Because you just never knew. I mean, stolen, I doubt. I mean, where I live, be almost impossible. The female coming back, the fact that I had flyers, $10,000, and $10,000 back then was a lot. Reward. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it came in somebody's yard and happened to fight with another dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty devastating.
Man, that's crazy.
I wouldn't know how to recover from something like that. I'm a big old softie when it comes to my dogs. I don't know how you do that.
I did, in all honesty, and then I tried to recreate him a few times, and what I learned with my blood is when you breed tight, they get smaller. So I wasn't able to recreate them. The one time I did, I thought I did. The puppies that was way when, I don't remember the time frame. Puppy fading from first to third.
Damn.
I saw that before, and then that's the first time I happened to be with Cairo's mother with a puppy where it was a Cairo. That kind of hurt me as a breeder. I know. Really had that same passion that I had after that.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, that warped me a bit. I'm thinking there's some people are still saying that we have an echo or it's a bit choppy. I'm wondering, okay, so Caleb, you've already hopped off and hopped back on, and are you hearing anything different now that you're back on, or was it, or
I'm still saying it's I can make out most of what he's saying, but it is a little choppy.
okay, okay.
Choppy to me. You all aren't, but Caleb is choppy to me.
That's crazy.
So it's me and you, Dave.
Us.
It's one of us, man. It's one of us. Here, let me jump off. I will jump off because if everyone hears you fine, that's the most important part. And then if it's still choppy, I'll put in the comments and then we'll go from there.
Jump off and then re-request it. We'll see where it goes.
Well, because I was about to say, because to me, like you guys seem okay. You sound the normal audio that you have, Caleb. Every once in a while you clap out,
it's
but for
just
the most
Dave.
part, it's I
It's just
think
Dave.
Dave, you're the only audio that I feel is a bit choppy. So we're catching a little bit
All
of
right, let me.
a little bit.
I'll sign off and sign back on.
Okay, perfect. I'll be ready.
And guys, you know what, man, that was always a mystery to me because I remember what happened. I remember when he lost that dog or whatever.
Yeah,
And I know it was devastating for him because to me, that's what he really started at. That's what
Yeah.
Lil Ro come off of. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That boy, he was producing too, man. I can remember the dogs that some of the dogs that I seen
Man.
off of that blood anyway, especially straight off the front. It was nice.
Yeah. Man,
Definitely nice.
I love how he's restarting his program though. I love that he's back into breeding as
Oh, I
heavy as he is.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to bounce back from something like that. I mean, it's unimaginable. I mean, you Caleb, how you're having to manage something incredibly similar, it's like I can't even imagine, bro. I
Yeah.
really can't.
Right.
Dang.
Is
Am I
he
choppy? Or not choppy now.
You sound better.
Yeah.
Caleb, you would the one that heard me choppy. So.
Hey, you sound perfect.
You
You sound
good
Chocolate
perfect
now.
to
fruit.
me, Dave.
Suck up.
Don't put me on the spot. You sound good to me.
That's right,
All right.
Dave. Everything's fine.
Really about it.
Um, so I know that this is I can see on the website, obviously you can see things on your page and everything. How long? I know that obviously the ABKC is 20 years old. When was the first nationals hosted? No, I'm going to ask you the hard question. I'm so sorry. Oh crap! It's not.
Like 15 minutes ago. I can't remember those. The national, I believe 2000. I think it was in California in 2007.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
I think it was
that's
2000. No. The first one was actually in Detroit. So I think 2007. Yeah.
where all has nationals been? Because I know obviously I've only been to it since it moved to Houston.
Same here.
It's been to Detroit once. It's been to LA twice. Been to Vegas once or twice. San Francisco, New Jersey, Atlanta, Louisville, Kentucky, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
Chicago. I think that's it.
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing it's been in Chicago at one point. I think Dima had said something about that. And
Yeah, or on the West Coast. We had them in the East Coast, but yeah, I think that's.
Yeah. So is the plan is to stay into Houston? Is that going forward, or y'all plan on changing that up a little bit after a few years, or?
Well, when you have it different places, you always suffer or take the risk of something not going. You take the risk
absolutely.
of somebody trying to cancel something last minute, trying to find new vendors. We've had a lot of bad experiences last minute that we had to find ways to make it. So Houston and being that place, I don't know if you've been there yet, but I mean that is a great venue.
Yeah.
Of us there, they give us our dates every year. You got 2 airports there for the international people, so you got 2 international airports. It's a beautiful place. It's a perfect spot for it. We want to keep it there. We would keep it there. We like to have it like Westminster type thing where you know where you're going here.
Right.
But the people don't want just that. And the more we think about it, it's like, we want Houston to be the home base,
Yeah.
but our patrons, you all and everybody like the idea of moving it around. So we're still going to be open to the idea of putting other places, provided we can secure those places well in advance. But it'll always return back to Houston no matter what. Whether it
Yeah.
stays permanently as the home base, we plan on maybe finding a few other places to do it, but we're not sure yet. But yeah, I think the popular response was to move it, so we're still, not move it permanently, but have it in other places. So we're still open to the idea of having it in other locations,
Okay.
even though
Okay.
it's not my choice. Even Houston,
You're like,
I mean,
I want Houston.
Yeah.
but it's just, Houston is just very easy. I mean,
Yeah.
we're welcomed with open arms. The people love the breed. They love the dogs. I mean, there's never an incident. The hotels are happy. They're friendly. It's a place where we don't run into any problems whatsoever. And we all know with this breed and other breeds like this, you run into issues with discrimination and you run into other issues. It doesn't happen. So other places, so they're not closing the door saying it's going to be permanently in Houston, even though I've said that. The response coming back was still they hope we did it other places. So we decided to not completely close the door to that.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that about you, and I love that about the ABKC, Dave. You are so for the people. Literally, if the people want something changed, you listen to them, you take that in consideration, and then you bring a pool of people together to make sure that that's the move that everyone feels is best.
Yeah.
It's never a dictatorship. It's never sitting there saying this is where it's going to be. We're going to have it in Houston every single year going forward, and I'm not going to listen to anyone else. No, you're listening to the community. You let the community really have a lot of say in what takes place, even with the thing that was added this year to nationals. I love it, and I appreciate that. I've been meaning to reach out to you about that. I appreciate that you make a stance for the breed, but you also listen to the community, because the community is the ones saying a lot of things that the changes are taking place. So thank you.
Right.
I do appreciate
Well,
that, Dave. I really do.
We say we're a community-based registry. There's a lot of things that are thrown out there against us all the time, and I don't think it's fair, because we truly are a community-based registry, and we really started for the community. I mean, we were a community that was put in a situation where we didn't have, and so we had to get our own option, so we never feel like we should close the door on the community, because we started for the community. So, but it doesn't also mean that the community is always right, so it's like, we weigh things out, we watch things, and, we look for the future. I'm a person that looks for 100 years down the road. I don't just look at today, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I said recently, it's like, for me, this is a personal legacy for me,
Yeah.
and I don't leave something after my time that couldn't go on,
Right.
so I'm always trying to figure out. It's like, I think the breed's done. Everybody, okay, there's so many people that get into the breed in recent years, and they got it easy, really, in my opinion. And they think that this is a completed, breed, and that's really not. And I hear all kinds of things all the time, but you got, I mean, we didn't even come up with a concept, a breed name, a
Yeah.
concept for breed, standard. We didn't even come up with that until 2004. And just coming up with it doesn't mean you have it. Coming up with it means this is where we, want to be down the road. We want to create a breed, and we want this breed to become something new. But in 2004, we weren't there. I mean, we didn't have the American Bully breed. We all had UK registered pit bulls, regardless of the ancestry of some and not others. The bottom line was still, it was all UKC registered pit bulls, So when you come up with a concept and you create a breed, that's for down the road. And we're still very young in this. We're 20 years from the day we came up with a name. 40 years of coming up with a name, coming up with standards. Not a very long time to complete the project of breed. So,
Oh, no, absolutely. There are breeds that there are breeds that literally they kind of just been in the hands of the public before there was any kennel clubs even established for that breed. Rottweiler's probably one of the better examples of that. And then so decades after that, you've got this registry now that's like, okay, we'll acknowledge the breed, let's set a standard. And then even then it took several decades to pin it down to a point where, you know, kind of feel like everybody was on the same page. And then they changed they changed the actual breed standard. That's actually pretty common. Almost every single breed has changed its breed standard at one point or another. It's just, you know.
Well, all breeds, when you start a breed, you start off with the basis, and then you do tighten your standard as you go on. That's
Yeah.
typical. You know, and I use a lot of times the reference the American Staffordshire. Here you have a breed that was not recognized. The American Pit Bull Terrier was not recognized in the ABKC. They would not accept the American Pit Bull Terrier. That the guidelines weren't strict for that breed.
Right.
You have the UKC that started for the American Pit Bull Terrier. Years later, you have breeders that decided they wanted to be recognized from the ABCC, so they set out to create the American Staffordshire Terrier using 3 or 4 bloodlines from the Pit Bull, Expert, Ruffian, I forget what all of them were they used, but it took them 70 years of breeding 3 to 4 bloodlines of a Pit Bull to create the American Staffordshire. And that's 70 years for the process to be done. And here we are, the same thing, basically. I mean, obviously we have Bulldogs and other things in our breed, but we are creating a breed off of the American Pit Bull Terrier 20 years in, you know. So it's like, it's still a very, very young process, you know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, me personally, I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, we're only 20 years in. I know that obviously to some that might feel like a you know, heavy thing, especially if, you know, they're new to it, but it's one of those things where I kind of feel like, shouldn't we want to make most of the changes that would need to be made like earlier on? You know, in the breed's tenure, as opposed to like 50 years down the line, 80 years down the line, you know, it's just like, God, shouldn't we change that like as soon as we are able to?
Well, look at it like this. 2004, we created the name. We created the standard. It was just American Bully. 2007 or 8, we added the, you know. 2014 is when we revised the standard and basically tightened the standard up a little bit. You know? That's when the Extreme broke pocket standard in XL, and that's when the Merles became a DQ for show, not for registration. But that's when a lot of things happened. But other than that, there's never been any other adjustments to our breed standard, and those were all early on. You know? So I mean, we're only, like you said, 20 years in this, and even now we aren't looking to make changes. We're just looking to get it right and tweak everything. So.
Yeah, refine. Like one of our viewers asked a question, how long do you think it'll be before you can confidently close the stud books?
You know, I don't know. That's a good question. At the moment, it's way too early. If you look at breed now, you can see, I mean, we can all see it, that so many breeders, we're pushing the boundaries for a breed. We're asking for a dog to have all these extremities and still be able to function. You know, we're asking for a breed to touch bone and head and substance and muscle and all these things we want to put on there to the most we can possibly put on there without it affecting the frame, without it affecting the movement, without it affecting the functionality. So we're trying to create something that's fine, in all honesty. We're trying to create a functional extreme breed. And by doing that, you put boundaries a lot of times, and you'll get a lot of dogs that go beyond the boundary, you know, dogs that fall apart. So if you're looking at the stud books of a breed, you need to make sure that you have enough dogs in that stud book, enough directions that you can go in the breed, enough diversity in the lineage behind the dogs, enough diversity in the styles of dogs behind the dogs, in order to give you know, enough of a foundation to be able to get what we're looking for, but be able to do it in a way that the breed is going to sustain itself for a long period of time. I don't feel that at this moment the stud books are, you know, we've slowed it way down. It's not like we're just accepting anything anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't feel time to close them yet either, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm trying to see if there is someone's trying to put you on the spot, sir. Chris Holiday is trying to put you on the spot, Dave. He was just like, who's the American Bully out right now that you would say is like the American bully, like the image of, the embodiment of, like the closest that you think the standard is right now in a dog?
You know, I'm going to always reference probably Grand Champion Blue at his peak, because yeah, we can still do more than that, and we can. At his peak, he achieves everything that you want. He has the extreme features. He's a big, heavy built dog. He's a dog that can still move. He's a dog that obviously can achieve everything as far as nationals wins, top 10 wins, production wise, producing dogs of that caliber. So I think at the current moment, safe dog. I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm not saying he might be the best one. I'm saying as far as a safe answer that kind of gives you the, like, okay, we see it. Like, dog can win national. You know,
Yeah.
a good dog to use at the current moment.
I can
like that.
go for that. I can go for that. Yeah. Blue's bad. Yeah. At his
He
peak, that
bad.
was,
When Blue is,
man.
it's
Producing
hard.
too.
Well, the thing about Blue, when Blue's at his best, he's a dog that's going to command presence. And he's a dog that's going to turn your head in every which way. I mean, put him on the stage at his, you will. You put him in the ring, the dog has presence in the ring, you know.
Yeah.
You know when he's there, you know. So there's a lot of things. People look at dogs a lot of times too, and they think, oh, it's head, or it's the mass, or it's this. No, when you read the standards, it's the entire package. And a lot also has to do with confidence and you know, the temperament. He exudes all of that. You know, he's a good dog to use for that reference.
I like that. I like
respect
that.
that
Yeah.
answer.
And I'm liking what he's producing too. I mean, his son, he went up against his own son in nationals this last year. I mean, that's
All the way.
being in the top three, those last three with that down and back, which was, again, just one of the most electric experiences ever. Like having him go against his own son. I mean, that's man, that's legacy in real time that everyone got to see. That was wicked.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
Hey, so look, Dave, let me ask you this. So since you start back to breeding, will Blue be in your program?
I like.
I don't know. I was limited. My breeding now is more for myself, if you want to know the truth. And I like to play around with different things. I don't know. I'm female poor at the moment, so I don't have many females anymore. I'm very limited in what I'll be able to do.
I see. Yeah, I see. That's all right. You got some time. You got time.
Yeah.
So this, I know that we'd mentioned earlier, at least Caleb had this showcase, and you know, we just got done talking about the breed standards. Oh, we got some feedback. Anybody
That's
hear the echo?
you.
I hear echo, but it's a female voice. I don't know.
It's, I know it's definitely an echo. It's my voice, but I don't know whose mic is cut or what's coming off of. That's weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
Awkward. Oh. Anyways, but so the showcase that you have for this upcoming nationals, I know you've done a ton of stuff, like different things every year for nationals, obviously as sort of like this added, you know, article of entertainment, if as it were. And some of which have been pretty strategic in the past, to introduce new things to the crowd and whatnot. This year, you're doing something that I'm pretty fascinated by. So this showcase, when you made the announcement, you know, you had asked for specific varieties. My question about the showcase is, how do you want us to label the bullies that are below pocket height? Because some will call them micro, some call them minis. I know that other registries, that's what they actually call them, is micros. I mean, that's pretty hard fast what they call them. So I was kind of curious as to, like, what would you want them to be named formally for this variety?
Let me before I say that, me just say this real quick, because that promotion out of proportion. I don't know why, to be honest with you, but it's never meant to take away from nationals. I mean, nationals is obviously the point of the whole event. I mean, the main ring is the main ring. That's what we're there for. It is the end of your top competition. I mean, we've been advertising nationals all year long, the booths, the judges, the trophies. You know, we didn't bring out the showcase recently. So, and we did that on purpose to not interfere with the promotion of the main event. You know, we wanted to get all that out first. But I don't know if it got blown out of proportion. The question you're asking, I don't know. Here's the thing: there's a lot of dogs out there now that are quality dogs below the pocket standard. And I knew this was going to happen because me as a breeder, I understand that the later these lines get, the smaller the dog. And our breed, even though we have a pretty diverse gene pool, the fads of the American Bully are using lines that are not diverse. We learned through DNA Challenge how tight a lot of dogs are. A lot of the popular dogs in American breed are, and the tighter you breed, smaller and more compact the dog get in a particular breed. Right. So I think that was going to be an issue moving forward if, you know, people weren't reaching out to a lot of the other bloodlines. And, you know, this breed tends to be a fad chasing breed. And Dax was probably the biggest fad in the American Bully breed. And I mean, people can hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. I mean, you watch it, that's how
it's fact. Yeah, it's fact.
I didn't promote it, and that's the way it went. Even though the breed, the back end of registrations, it's the DAC side is actually not a big in the entirety of the breed. We have over 1 million dogs registered, so it's not in the large scale gene pool, but it is in the popular part of the gene pool. You know, the dogs you're seeing on Facebook and at the shows and so forth. So we knew that type of breeding of smaller dogs. I don't like to use the term that other registries and people are using, because a lot of times those dogs are back and forth with exotics. You know, it's like a fine line. They're talking about referring to our ABKC registered American Bullies that are
just below.
And I don't want to use a name that's already been being used, because that's not necessarily the thing we're referring to.
Sure.
It's a situation that we don't have the answer might simply be nothing. The answer might be people breed them, but it doesn't necessarily constitute creating a new variety. That's one end of way of looking. Another way at it is it's quality. There's enough of them, and you know you run into the concept of how many to breed. You know, how many do you really want to breed to go? You know, there's another concept of rewriting the standard and lowering the pocket. You know, but then again, you got to look at that as saying, well, if you do that, then how much leadway can you possibly give? Do you really want to give a breed more than 3 inches variance in variety? Kind of say, this variety have a 7-inch variance. You won't come down to it just doesn't make sense. You're gonna so it's a hard situation, and you look at it from every which way, which we have. And you know, a lot of people think, oh, ABKC is just doing this or doing that, or this is for money. No, we're actually really contemplating, like, does this need to be a trend? Is it that constitutes a change of some sort? And if so, what is the change? So all we're doing at this moment is saying the demand is there, the dog is there. Let's give an opportunity for the public to see the breed of these, and for us to see these dogs and give a platform for, not a platform that gives them an immediate variety that puts them into the competition side of their points, but at least an opportunity for the public and everybody to see this particular type of dog. So at the moment, we're not saying anything We're not saying we're giving it a name. We're not saying that we're giving variety. We're saying that we're going to change the standard. We're saying we hear you, we see it. Let's get out there more. Let's all see it. We all have the opportunity and get the action from the community, you know, and us. So that's really all we're doing.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
When
because I know that the one thing that I've noticed is that I've seen, I mean, these under height pockets. Sorry, there we go. These under height pockets, like I've seen them happen by accident. Like there's like, oh, yeah, we bred 2 pockets, and then all of the pups came out, you know, and they made height except for this one. And I mean, they're still, you know, bad little bulls, but they're just it's too short. So, you know, it sometimes always feels like such a such a shame that they
yeah,
you know, can't really do much.
and the reason it is exactly why I said it's because the lines are tight and they're breeding tight. Always get smaller. I mean, it happened to me when I wanted to reproduce Cairo. I bred Cairo to Viagra. Viagra is Cairo's mother, Paddington. And I thought, okay, I'll get me some Cairos. And what I got little guy. I got a smaller version, which I didn't want, which in my opinion, what started the pocket movement. Even though they probably are pocket today, it
Yeah.
started the pocket movement. Marco Suarez pretty much took that particular strand on himself, his own, and I kind of credit him for the pocket thing because he's the one that actually took charge of that particular strand of Razor's Edge and continued on with shorter dogs. But that is all a process of the line being too tight. It was something, a lesson I learned myself, and then I see it in you know, in the breed, you know, from breeders breeding real tight. So, and the tighter we breed, I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, obviously they can only get so small, but you know, I mean, we're seeing that now. So, I mean, like I said, I think that got blown out of proportion. I think people ran with their own idea of what that meant without really stepping back and saying, okay, we understand, you know, but you know, it is, again, maybe the community doesn't like the idea of the showcase and it's something that we don't bring again at now, or maybe they do and we continue, you know.
Yeah, no, I love
Hey,
it. I
Dave.
love this showcase. You're listening to the
Hey,
community. A lot of the community saying that they want dogs that are Merle. They want dogs that are underneath the height. You're listening to them. You're saying, come out or shut
Yeah.
up. Like you know, in
You wanted this. If I
different
make it
ways.
happen,
But
show up.
I love that because again, you're listening to the community, a community-based registry. The ones that are pushing for it, come out. Show the stock that y'all got. Show
and let me
it because he's allowing it. He's allowing it at the highest stage, and it's not taking away from anything. Last year
no
there was a stack off.
every year
It didn't take away from the primary stage. It didn't take away from Blue, Hangman, and Zeus going at it.
no, not at all. Like I told you, we had an extreme stack off there. Nobody remembers that the way they remember the final of
Exactly.
Nationals. I mean,
Exactly. And that's what I love about it.
We
So
only
Merle
got-
breeders, people that are going underneath pocket height, come out.
yeah, they need to, you know, we only got away from that for 2 years, and it was because of the incident in Miami. And at that point, we needed to step back because that was bad, you know, and that could have really hurt everything, not just ABKC, but everything and everyone. That there's a trickle effect, things like that. So we had to step back and we had to say, hold on, for the time being, we're stopping everything outside the confirmation show.
Yeah.
You know, over time, we started to bring things back again, you know, because that is part of who we are. But we needed to figure it out and we needed to regulate it and get it to where it wasn't something that was dangerous, you know what I mean, or going to be a burden or affect all, you know. So that's why we stopped things for a period of time. But and in the back on that again is, you know, I hear all these people like, oh, this is for money, and I gotta be honest with people, it's not for money. All the dogs we're referring to are ABKC. Where are we talking about? The Merles, the under the height dogs, they're all ABKC registered dogs we're referring to. So it's not a financial thing at all. I mean, and I hear this all the time. I'm like, the registration's already happened. So ABKC doesn't have any other revenue outside of registration. As you all know, the shows we don't, you know, Nationals is the only show we throw, and the rest we don't actually make any money on. We don't, none of that money goes to ABKC.
Yeah.
So it's not a financial thing, it's a community thing, you know?
Yeah.
No question, man. We all cut you off.
Hey, yeah, Dave. I don't want to get off the subject, man. I'm interested in your program, man. You know, like me and you, you know, you haven't been having time to breed dogs, so now you started back. So how is you going, you know, move forward? Like me and you both old time breeders. Are you gonna go COI? You gonna do COI, or is you gonna match up pedigrees? How are you going to, you know, excel your blood again?
Well, matching the pedigrees and by phenotype, genotype, it all ties in together. You always have to start off with your eyes.
There we
Always.
go.
You have to, the dogs that you're using need to carry the traits that you're wanting. And for different reasons. Sometimes you want to reproduce. Sometimes you want to replace. Sometimes you want to remove. Whatever the situation is, the dogs you're using need to have the traits that you're looking for. So that's basically what you call phenotype. You know, the physical appearance of the dog. Then genotype is basically the pedigree of the dog. Where these genes come from? Where these traits come from? So when you're looking to use dogs, you want to look in the pedigree. A lot of times you're looking to match dogs genotype that have a matching phenotype. And that's just one thing. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons when you're breeding. Sometimes you want to bring in a trait. Sometimes you want to remove a trait, like I said. Sometimes you're just looking to recreate. But they're all hand in hand. So everything is hand in hand. It's obviously with your eyes first and then the pedigree second. But they're hand in hand. They work together. When you're asking me personally about a breeding, I'm a female breeder. When I created a bloodline, I didn't care much about males. I look at males like this. As kennels, you have to have an impressive male because the normal person looks for the male.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need that for your advertisement. As far as breeding, the power is in the females. And so when I bred, I always had this concept in my mind is I always felt like if I could breed females that look like males, then my
Yeah.
male is something else, you know. So I was always very heavy on the girls and making sure that I had very masculine looking females. And you know, you can stud your dog. I mean, you can get a stud from anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have mass amounts of males. So when you're a breeder or a breeder trying to create a bloodline, the females are the most important, and that's what you have to have. Funny now, I don't have the females now, so I would do
It's like being
any of those.
cast for you, like, oh, it sucks.
I mean, in all honesty, you know, I did my thing. I was happy when I did my thing. I was happy to hang my hat up after Cairo. You know, and then when we got into the bully, I was happy to hang my hat up after all the girls. I have like a whole bunch of girls I can show you from the early mid 2000s to late 2000s that were with no DAX, none of that stuff, that were super masculine, you know. You know, and I hang my hat up on all that, but this is in my blood, so it's like I can never not have dogs, and
Yeah.
I can like I have a little weird mind. Like for me, if the dog, I have to know how you made it. And if I can go back in your pedigree and everything and somehow figure it out in my head exactly how you made that dog, like where the actual then I'm satisfied. And it's like I do breedings all the time in my good now. I'm like, okay, I can make your dog. I'm not going, but I can do it. You know, so but that's just the way my brain is. I can't not like break a dog down and figure out how that was done. So I don't have the bug like I once had, but I'll always make dogs. I mean, I can't not make dogs, you know, so, you know.
Yes, I love that answer, Dave. Hey, and Dave, to clear up an answer too that we get all the time about bloodlines, what constitutes a bloodline?
All right. So forget everything you ever read. I don't care what people say. I'm going to tell you my
Like, squash all that stuff. Sit down.
there's nothing better than hands-on. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So Dave Wilson, so I'll answer it this way so that nobody can say, oh, no, so-and-so. Dave Wilson's answer for what constitutes a bloodline is consistency and something unique. So I, as a breeder, and I've met many breeders that have bloodlines in the pit bull world, the Amstaff world. In the bully world, it's very few. My feeling is you need to be able to look at a dog and know that dog came from this breeder. And not only that, but you need that breeder needs to have generations of it, not just a wonder, not just a father and son. You need to have generations, 3 or 4 generations of the consistency. So when you can look at 3 or 4 generations and it has the consistency, but there's something unique about it that makes it that breeder. You know what I mean? Like there was a period of time with Razor's Edge that you could go down and say, that's a Razor's Edge dog. You know, Pam Carter, one of my favorite. I think Pam Carter, I don't know if y'all know Pam Carter. She's still an ABKC judge, but she, in my opinion, is the OG. I mean, I'm old, but she older. But she's the OG. Nah, Pam.
I can't even do a picture right now. Oh my God, poor Pam.
Physically, mentally, but she's got me by 20 some years. But all due respect, Pam was somebody I looked up to.
Yeah, that's
because
awesome.
when I looked at Gaff kennels, I was like, I know this is a Gaff dog. I know it. It doesn't even have to be that you love the breeder, you love the line for it to be a line. You might not like it, but if you can identify it and there's generational consistency behind it, then to me, that's a bloodline. So you can say, you know what, I know. And I ask this to people all the time. I'm not going to put you 3 on the spot, but in your own minds, just in your own minds, let's not say names, let's say numbers. In your own minds, looking at the American Bully breed right now, and I'm whether you like these breeders or not, just looking at the American Bully breed, how many breeders could you say that you could just pick their dogs out and say, I know this is from this breeder? And I don't mean 1, I mean 4 generations or more. Of how many breeders can you actually say that about now?
Very few.
Yeah,
Everybody's
just a few. And even then, it's still kind of like a more so not that person's dogs, but it came from somewhere in their lineage, came from that yard, came from that program. But
I don't mean like a Dax. Like Dax is a dog that stamped himself. Ed was a great man and a great breeder, but I'm referring to a bloodline, not the individual dog stamping itself. I'm referring to a breeder with a program that has brought out something unique and consistent for generations. Own yard and an American Bully breeder, I could probably say 2 to 3. You know, but back in my days with the pit bulls and the Amstaffs, there was a lot. A lot. And like Gaff for me was personal for me because I've been friends with her for 40 years. So not 40, 30 years. I don't know.
wait a minute, don't age me. Oh, come on.
But I mean that's one for me. That was an inspiration for me because she was prior to my time, and then she carried on into my time. But she was. I could look at her dog and say, "Oh, that's Gaff all day long." So that's my opinion on a bloodline. It has to be consistency, something unique, and something that carries through at least 3 to 4 generations.
Yeah. I mean, I think that as far as like some of the things that I've noticed, like I can usually kind of pick out what's come from like Rockomania. It's a very, very, well-defined, brow. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you're like, is that Rocco blood? And, it's going to be a yes or no. And about like, if you know what you're looking at, it's 80-20% chance you're going to say, yeah,
But
granddad or great granddad.
There's a difference when it's a dog stamping itself versus breeder creating a line. Those are 2 different things. So when
I don't know much about like Rocco's, background.
I'm just saying that to clear that because I don't know the name of a lot of lines now, so I don't know. But I like Dax is the one I can tell you was a dog that stamped himself, but I'm not sure that there was a blood, and that's the difference. People say now, but are we talking about a dog that stamped himself, or are we talking about a breed that developed a program that generations? So
nice.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Trying to look at, somebody actually asked a question, and I wonder if you, like, if you need to count on all your fingers and toes, or if your math is not exactly 100% on point yet. How many champions and grand champions do you have under your belt?
Me?
And that's all around, like UKC, ABKC, like whatever.
None ABKC.
Oh, well.
Not a single one.
Being president, that'd be kind of
But that's and dogs. I have no idea. More than 30, less than 50, probably somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So more fingers and toes than you have. That's okay, good. Established. Somebody asked that earlier, and I was just like, oh God, if I ask him this, he's going to be like, oh God, carry the 50,000.
I know that more than 30,
Plus count.
beyond 30, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know many digits. I live close to a nuclear power plant, but it doesn't affect me like that.
So maybe fingers and toes might not be that much of an issue. You might have more to spare. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I'm trying to think. Someone had asked a question, and I was curious if this was because your personal history. I'm obviously not 100% familiar with. They'd said that
You don't go far back in time, or what?
I was in people still when you were doing this, like when you were doing all of this fantastic, creation and, building an empire. You're like, I get it. I was still in Pitbull. So like, but someone had said that you had been in XLs and they were curious as to why you kind of veered away from that and are moving more towards the smaller classes.
Me personally, as Razor's Edge.
You? Yes, you.
I've produced a couple XLs, but they weren't intended.
Yeah.
That's really the answer. I think I produced one of the best XLs of all times, but it wasn't intentional. So that was back in the days when the dogs were on the taller side. When the American Bully started, you got to remember, like, Gotti dogs were actually bigger dogs. Gottis weren't small dogs. They were more on the upper end of the standard size, and your XLs back then were like bloodlines, like Butthead was one, and there's a bunch of them. Out in Cali, they had a few XL bloodlines that have been around for a while. But me as Razor's Edge, no, I never was really an XL breeder. For some reason, there was one interview that went out in the UK, and it's like, oh, this is the guy that created the XL, and I don't even know where they got
Serious timing on that one too, by the way.
Yeah, that's like one of those media things that somebody put out there, and I'm like, I got tired of finding I didn't create the XL, but create the 90s.
Dave,
Early I produced XLs, but not intentional.
Yeah. Who was the XL that you created that you thought was the best XL possibly of all time?
That's right when I said that, I was sitting here trying to remember his name. It's my own dog. Hannibal. Len from Lycan Kennels had him. Was Hannibal.
Hannibal. Okay, I want to look him up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It was Diablo or Ruckus, but I don't remember. But yeah, I think Diablo or Ruckus. But it was Hannibal. I placed him with Len at Lycan Kennels in New Jersey, and he was bad. And he was an XL before we were calling him XLs. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, there is a question, Amanda. They want you to ask this because it won't be right if you ask this. Here, I'll ask. Ryan from MBK says, Dave, how is Ryan with MBK so handsome?
I don't know. I've been wondering that. I'm thinking it's AI. Yeah.
It's a Photoshop.
Yeah.
They wanted me to ask that. Why would they want me to ask him?
I'm pretty.
They were on YouTube, but I had to ask it. That was funny. Ryan, hey, touche, my friend, touche.
Heaven forbid a man say handsome to another man in the same sentence, especially if it's a question. Oh boy. What about the children?
Ryan's a good guy. He's my partner. A lot of things. Me and him do a lot of the interviews because he's part of the media team that we brought in when we were fighting this, which we are still fighting in the UK, which by the way, still not over. We finally got our court date for November something. I forget. It's like late November. So that fight on. Yeah. It's unbelievable, man. That whole XL thing over there is just their legal system, their prejudices. It's crazy over there.
All right, so you said the first court date is November, this upcoming month.
The final court date, whether or not we can overturn the ban or not, is in November. Yes.
Wow. Good luck. Thank y'all for fighting that fight. We brought in breeders on here, so thank y'all for fighting that fight. Because it's a beautiful breed.
I keep forgetting, like, we should have been promoting this in America more and more, because when we do those lives, it's a lot of the UK people.
Mhm.
A lot of people in America just think it's over, and it's not over. It's just, it's crazy. But yeah, we brought on a whole legal team, and that legal teams, they've been great. And we brought in another organization that headed everything up, and they've been great. It's just that legal system is crazy over there. So it is still being fought. And unfortunately, the thing over there is that they already had what they call the dangerous dog list.
Yes.
So what they had to do was add the breed. So it wasn't like they had to just go through hearings or anything. It's just they can add a breed. So it's like now there was no way to fight it. So the only way to fight it is to say it was unjust. But it's been postponed and pushed back. And, I mean, it's sad because it's, by the time we finally get to court, it's already gone into effect. And, the people that had to neuter their dogs had to neuter them. I mean, it's a sad scenario, really, it is. But we're not going to give up, because obviously it's unfair, and we need to fight this for the future generations. So hopefully we win. But, we'll see in November.
The fact that like you were willing to get so involved so quickly as well, like that was one of the things, because I remember it was actually really shortly after they made the announcement that they had a specific day even that this was going to go into effect, where the window of like, you've got to get your, registration for your dog at this, on this day, and then from this day to that day, spay or neuter, or you have to basically give them up for euthanization and things like that. And so like literally very shortly after they basically announced that they had a day, so it's official, like you got with, your legal team, and like you were a juggernaut in that. Like you literally, you made sure very publicly that you were supporting, the bully community out in the UK, and that you had absolutely no intention of stopping, and you wanted to make sure that they had your support. And I think that was, I remember that being something that was really that right in the feels, man, right in the feels.
Started out bad for me, because the first interview I did was an edited interview, and it went the wrong way.
That
Yeah.
that's like, wow, talk about missing context.
I came in backpedaling, if you want to know the truth, because the media got me good. So I came in backpedaling. Like, before I could even get involved and fight it, I had to like fight everybody that wanted to kill me for what they felt was the wrong thing that I said. And I get it now. Like, now that I went through the media, I realized, like, this is crazy. Like, you got them showing me pictures over here, and I'm saying, that's not a bully, that's a pit bull. And on the other end, they're showing a different one live. It's like, it was crazy. It is what it is. I mean, we learned the game pretty quickly, unfortunately, but well, fortunately, but from that point on, I was like, we got to get involved in the other side, because it didn't matter at that point. Like, their prime minister was doing what he was doing regardless. So it was a matter of, we just need to get the right legal team involved, and we went back and found the right attorney, and then we ended up unfortunately we weren't allowed to fund the GoFundMe because we're America based. So then we found another group, Don't Ban Me, License Me, who decided to take over and get the GoFundMe going and all those things. So we went good, some good connections over there, met some good people, and it's still a fight going on right now, and hope for the best. And even if we don't overturn it, we're not going to stop, because it's not right. It's definitely right, and it's false information. They jumped on something without even knowing what they were jumping on. So.
Yeah, breed misidentification is a hell of a drug. It's one of those things that like they never will admit to, but like when you think about it, the layman, not normal dog person, they can identify maybe 5 breeds. They're like, oh, it's a golden retriever. Good, I think that's a Rottweiler, or something along those lines. It's not really until you get to people that breed dogs, show dogs, things like that, they're going to be able to differentiate between a multitude of different breeds. And so, obviously these people sitting in this, in Parliament are just like, I don't know, a pit bull.
Yeah,
really?
I think
You know what that dog is?
the term XL bully over there became like a generic term that wasn't even necessarily used for the breed. It just became big dogs, and it was a mess. I mean, it truly was. But a lot of it I really blame on the COVID situation, because in all honesty, during that time frame, so much money was floating around, free money, and dog breeding became like the popular thing for the world. You know, not just in we saw it here in America, and by that happening, it just flooded the industry with people that had no knowledge of dogs that shouldn't be owning or breeding dogs. It flooded the industry with poor quality dogs. We're seeing that today. You know, it just flooded the industry with mass amounts of dogs, and mass amounts of money were tied into dogs during that time. So it just became something where people thought, I could sit home and breed dogs and make tons of money. And for a brief period, they were actually able to. But you just got so many people that just didn't know about dogs that shouldn't have been in dogs, and just so many poor quality dogs selling for high amounts of money and people investing in it, that it caused a big problem around the world. You know, and England had their issue with XL dog bites, and here we are in America with our issue of a whole lot of poor quality dogs out there right now. And that it's all because of, my opinion, that whole COVID situation. But
Yeah, it definitely, it made access. I mean, and now with that said, my first American Bully I did happen to get in 2020, but like that was after years of research, and like I'd always, you know, I've been looking towards that since, you know, I, you know, moved to the South, and it was just one of those things where I was finally in a position where I could do it. But I did a lot of research. That wasn't sort of like a screw it, it's COVID, let's just do this, you know. But I can see where that, yeah, where a lot of people, they were bored. They got that, you know, some of them were getting that unemployment money, you know.
a lot of money.
And
Not a political person, but there's a whole lot. I mean, most people that you talk to did well during that time.
Yeah.
And strange ways. But the dog thing was a thing. I mean, who? I can't blame somebody. I mean, imagine just sitting there and you're looking at the computer, you're not working, you're sitting at home, you can't go nowhere, and all of a sudden you see this guy selling puppies for $15,000, and you think, shoot, if I buy one, I'm going to sell puppies for $15,000.
Yeah.
Actuality, there was truth to that for a short period of time. You know, it was a 2-year bubble, but it was a bubble that there's a lot of money invested in that bubble, and there was a lot of money floating around. But again, it was a lot of money with inexperience, you know, and, you know, it caused a huge issue. And we're seeing it now. Like, we didn't see the influx of American Bullies and rescues and all that things that we see right now. I mean, now you can do, and they're everywhere. Frenchies, exotics, all these things. And that's all because that bubble has now burst, in all honesty. I mean, the money's not there. You know, you're getting down poor breeders.
Yeah. Breeding is a game of patience, and it's one of those things that, like, you have to take it like step by step. You have to pair your breedings, which requires research. Oh God.
But
like, they don't realize what goes into it.
True breeders truly understand that it's not a viable business in real life, because in real life, not COVID life, but real life, you know the game, and there's a lot of expenses. When you have dogs, it's expensive. I mean, it's truly a lot of work, and it's a lot of expenses, and there's a lot of things that go wrong. You know, I mean, it's not just as simple as people think it is. I mean, I've had droughts when I was a breeder where litter after litter didn't take, or this dog had, or this, you know what I mean? Like, it's a never ending, it's a money pit in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, yeah, some people have figured it out and they've gotten themselves into a position where their sales are above their expenses, but the average person really in an average economy is going to have more expenses than profit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Eventually,
Jake just put in the
you're
comments,
lucky.
you got to love the dog.
Yeah.
Got to love the dog
Right
to
there.
do this.
Oh,
We're going to see who
absolutely.
right now, because we're in a lull right now. We can see it everywhere. It's not, you know, we see it at the back end of registrations. You see it in the attendance of the shows. You see it in all the posts of people getting out of it. You see it in the prices dropping. I mean, there's no way that you can't deny that we're in a lull in that at this moment. And I personally believe that we're in an election year right now, so that adds to it, you know.
Yeah.
The COVID crash. There's so many reasons we're in the law, but I think this law is going to probably sustain for another year outside of this year. So it's like, real breeders know, like, you know, you're going to run into periods of time like this, and, you know, we'll see a lot of people fall off this year and next year.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Hey,
you're already seeing.
some of them can see themselves out. That's fine.
in essence, it's a good thing, you know, because it's a cleansing thing in a way too, because you get rid of all the money, the people that weren't here for the longevity, the people that weren't here for the experience, the people that jumped in for the money. Those are now gone, and if they're not gone, they're going to be gone within the next year, and it's a good thing in the long run because it removes all the people that really weren't in it for the right reason, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually and we've discussed this. We've actually used this term, or like this philosophy. It's just like we have way more breeders than we need. We need more breed advocates, and if those breed advocates just so happen to also be breeders, awesome. But for the most part, we've got more breeders than we need. We need more breed advocates because they're the ones that are going to breed better dogs.
We need more advocates, and we need more good pet homes. I mean, I have a lot
Yes.
of dogs in pet homes,
Yes.
just good pet homes. People that just love the dogs. Because I don't know, this year I did a lot of things here and there, and in the end, I barely sold anything because I saw the value more in the home than I did the dollar, you know, of the dog. So I put a lot of dogs in good home, and it helps the breed, because when you have that person, just an average family out there with their dog walking their American Bully, and it's just for the purpose of a family loving their dog, and people see that in public, that in the end helps the breeds, because then
That's advocacy.
breed in the limelight of being a profitable item. It's putting the breed in the limelight of being a loving family companion. And I think in the long run, that's more important. I mean, obviously, people that are doing it for money can't do it that way. But overall, I mean, that's what we really need. We need more pet homes that really, truly love their dog. You know, and I mean, there's no other way around it. But obviously, you know, breeding for money, that's not what they want to hear. But that's what will sustain breed in the long run. You know, public perception is everything. And if the public feels that this is a loving family breed, then this breed will last for generations to come, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got too many people afraid to pet home their dogs because, again, just like you said, they're like, no, I need to make my investment back on this litter, and instead of being willing to pet home dogs that maybe shouldn't be bred, or just being willing to like breed, obviously for yourself, you keep your keepers, right, and then pet home the rest. Like there's just a lot of, you know, not malpractice, but
yeah. So,
yeah. What'd you say, Dave?
no, I said provided they're in good pet homes. You just got to be careful with that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The worst is
me
the
too.
breeder. That's the worst one. So, and we all know that one.
I'm trying to see if anybody like, because I mean, you're rolling with these punches, so like, there's not a lot of questions. Like you're really
maybe I do
going into it. So that's a beautiful thing, Lisa. Trying to think if does anybody have any, because we're rolling up on 9:10, man, which is what, 10:10 over there for you, Dave?
I'm good now. I got a little champagne in me. I'll be sitting.
I knew you'd get that second win, baby. I knew you would. And you're just like, no, I don't know, man. I'm starting on the line. I don't know. Oh man, that's great. Let's see here. So
I'll answer any question. I have no problem answering questions. So
man, I love that.
Whatever.
I love the transparency of that. And we hit on this question a little earlier, and Dave, I want to ask, and I'm sure people that were watching want to ask too. You said the American Bully name became in 2004. How did that name come about?
oh, good question.
So back then we had called the Elite Message Board on MSN, and this American Bully community was pretty much through that board, through the Elite Edge board. And on that board, we had a debate. The debate was that we need to do something for ourselves now. I could tell the long story, the short story, but I'll tell the short story on this one just for the name. So the long story involves the UKC, and we have a lot of people in our community that still think that's a way to go with the breed, and I'm highly against that, and I have a lot of reasons to be against that, more so than other. Let me tell you like this first. I don't believe in all the registries, not because I hate the registries, but I think the breed's too young to take it in so many different directions. So I don't feel that's a good thing for the breed. I don't hate on the American Bully registries because they do love our breed and they are trying to do some things positive for our breed. So I don't dislike it. I do believe, in my personal opinion, that the breed is way too young to start to spread it throughout different registries. I think that's going to be detrimental. The UKC, I have a different opinion on, though. That I will never support, because I've seen the disrespect for the people. I've seen the disrespect for the breed, and then I've seen the disrespect for the breed. They decided to take on the breed, and
Yeah,
in a
from
very
day one even. Yeah, from day one.
yeah, I can go really deep into that, but
I got it's out. Middle East. It's all the little registration fees.
oh, it's but erasing the history, acting like they created. But we needed to create a name, and we need to do something. We all started the thing, and we all started like, it's not a pit anymore. It's not. There's no need for the term pit. I mean, we're not putting them in pits and fighting our dogs.
Right.
So there's absolutely no purpose in that part of the name. We definitely had strayed away from the terrier. I mean, we definitely bred more for the other side, the bull side, of the breed. So it's like American pit bull terrier, pit and terrier don't even fit where we're going. So we need something to name this and give it its own identity. So it was a debate on the Elite Edge board, and all kinds of names came out. And it was like, I don't know, there was one called Patriot this, and people names out, and I don't actually remember who said American Bully. When I was on there, I was like, we need to remove pit, we need to remove terrier, but we need to make sure it's American, because this is an American base. And I don't remember, but when that name came up, when I said, this is what I like, I'm going with this. American Bully, I like this, I'm going with this. The Elite Edge members, I ran the Elite Edge at the time, so they all said, we're going with this, perfect. I reached out to Richard Barajas, Gotti line. I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. We would like you all to be part of this too. Your line to be part of it. Richard said, I like this. I'm going to be part of this too. We will do this as well. So, but it didn't stick with everybody. It was for the first years of the ABKC, I would say from 2004 to like 2007, maybe. The only people really strong ABKC American Bully were the Elite Edge members and Richard's crew, the people that followed Richard with the Gotti stuff, and that's what gets me today, because so many people like fighting over this fight. Like, y'all didn't really like, we fought for it. We fought for it for so long that it stuck,
Yeah.
And then it finally started clicking, and people started crossing the lines and breeding the thing, so that's really how it came to be. It was really a situation brought out on the Elite Edge message board that people voted on and put out names, and we as the Elite Edge said, that's the one that we want. And I said, that's the one I want. And then when we reached out to Richard, he said, I'm with it too,
Good choice.
That's kind of it.
Well
I like
played.
it.
Well played, because I mean, obviously, love the name, absolutely. But speaking of those lines and crossing those lines, what lines are you currently using? I mean, obviously, you said that you're kind of at like not a flat line, but you're sort of like, you're still kind of in, in preparation mode. But what lines are you currently kind of either interested in, or had you kind of implemented prior to this kind of like medium right now?
Well, my favorite dog for what I like that's coming from my hands is Demon, Demon Boy. I love Demon Boy. I think he's an impressive dog for what I personally like. So a lot of what I have is based off mainly his strain. But then I'll try some other things too. I mean, I if this Merle thing kicks off, I want to make one of my own, just to show.
What?
We'll see what.
Yeah, y'all heard it here first. Testimony.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, I mean, it's just I like to try to. I just like to make dogs.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to limit myself and say I'm just doing this or I'm just going to do this. I mean, we'll see where the future, what the future brings. But I'll always keep something of my own name in the mix of everything I do. And Demon Boy would be the strain of blood that I personally like. I mean, if you ever Demon Boy, he's like the same situation with Blue. He commands attention. Like when he walks in the room, that dog walks in the room. If you hold the leash, what you got at the end of the leash. He's bully, but I mean, I got videos of him playing tug of war with a backhoe. So I mean, that tells you, like, I like dogs that still do a little something, you know, like I don't want to, I like a dog that can be a couch potato when we're in there, but then when we go outside, I want you to do, you know, like we're running around, you doing stuff.
Yeah.
I like a dog that can tug a war and that can, you know, jump and run, and, you know, Demon does all of that, you know, so I like to keep alive in my dogs. And I like that heart. I don't like the mushy face. I don't like the wrinkly muzzle. I don't like, you know, there's so many things I don't like the round eye. Like, you know, like I like that typical hard razor looking face, you know, so I want to try to keep that in most of what I have, you know.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, Bruce, we're having a hard time hearing you. Look like you're trying to say something, but we can't hear you.
He's gonna log off and try it again. I know that at one point he had put in his headphones, thinking that maybe that would kill some of the echo, just in case it was his that was causing any of it. We don't know yet, but yeah, well, I'll put him back on as soon as he sends me the invite. But that could have been what was going
Yeah.
on. But
Hey, Ryan Guard's got a good question too about
Uh-huh.
cloning. So Ryan Gard has started the process of cloning, and he wants to clear up how to register a clone dog. And then someone put on there that Jeff Aronson has done it as well. So Dave, if you want to kind of touch on that as well about the cloning process and how do you go about registering a clone dog?
Yeah, so we did a lot of research on that because we thought some dogs were cloned, which people advertised that never were cloned. Demon Boy is actually we pulled his tissue samples, and his tissue samples and everything were good, and they sent off to the company in China actually that does it. And we haven't gone to the next stage yet, but we will eventually do the cloning of Demon Boy. I'm not in any hurry, but that process is already there. We already have the like I said, tissue samples and everything there in China already ready. So the next stage is to pay the $50,000 and get the actual cloning done. But me and William haven't done it yet. But anyway, so what happens with a clone dog? So here's the thing with a clone. A clone dog is never 100% replica, no matter what they tell you. When we got down deep into the cloning thing, they cannot completely replicate. You might get a dog with the same markings, but you might not.
Right.
They see markings, and the secondary thing they cannot guarantee is temperament. Part of it is because the natural part of temperament is obviously something that they've learned over time too. You know, so it's a mix. You know, even though you clone a dog, you'll never have that replica with markings and temperament, as well as the birth date. So those are the things. So a clone dog with us basically is going to be a dog with the same pedigree. It's going to have a new birth date, and it's going to have a code that shows the clone. You know, basically, it'll have a code on the pedigree that shows it's a clone dog. So in essence, it's actually a new dog because it's not exactly the same, but it doesn't have parents. You know, it's made on a clone, so it's going to have all the same thing. I mean, whether they want to name it the same or not, that's up to the person who clones their dog. But it will be the same pedigree. It will have a code that specifies that it was cloned, and that's really about it. I mean, it's really not much, you know.
So is there any clone dogs that are currently registered in ABKC?
Not a one.
Not a one? Okay.
People that were out there saying they cloned their dog, and haven't done it, you know. That either, but you know,
He's like, I don't know about that.
dog every 3 years
Interesting.
changing its jacket doesn't mean you cloned it, you know.
Yeah, I love it.
Right?
I love this transparency. Ryan Gard, thank you for that question. Incredible question, because I would have never thought that.
Ryan ain't playing, so I think he'll beat Demon to the punch. So Ryan might be the first one.
He just said MBK will be the first. I just paid the money. That's literally what he said.
You got it.
Oh God.
The real thing now. All right.
Ryan Gard, we need you to come on here sometime, man. We're gonna talk after.
Oh yeah.
No, I love what he's doing over there, MBK, and I love the questions that he's asking. Please keep asking. I know you and Dave are close, and I love these questions.
Not only is he the most handsome man out there, but he's also Ryan.
Don't feed him. Don't feed the animals. It's all right.
I think he's a little worried about not being as handsome as me, but I'll let him, you know, we'll let that go. I'll let him beat me.
Green isn't a good color on everybody. We'll say that. Is that?
Oh man, that is hilarious.
He can have himself the first clone. Handsomest man, I'm still gonna fight him on that one, but
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
poor guy. He'll be all right though. He has a wife, so he's good.
yeah.
Being
I
safe
know.
that.
I thought my wife was gonna chirp in and be like, "Nope, Caleb's got it." But baby, you didn't say anything. I'll be inside in a minute. We'll handle this.
You're funny.
I
Oh,
didn't just comment.
You are funny.
It's only because you bought all that candy. Yeah.
oh man.
Let me see.
What happened here?
Let me get this.
Okay. No, they're still discussing. I guess there was some confusion as to like why you don't have ABKC champion or grand champion dogs, and I was like, 'cause you
Well,
can't.
I don't AC champion is because I felt like it was too political for me to enter my dogs. That's really
Yeah, it's conflict of interest. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why. So they're kind of discussing that right now. They're like, oh.
yeah. I mean, I would love to compete. I loved it when I UKC and AK. I actually started in AK. I have a like different kind of direction, but I love the competition. I just tell y'all this: all you professional handlers out there, and all you top 10 and nationals winners, y'all are lucky I'm not out there. Y'all lucky I think it's political.
There we go.
Tell them. Tell them. Oh my gosh.
Man, Dave, I would love to see you with the lead in your hand sometime.
I'm not
I
sure
would.
that far no more, but yeah.
Yes, maybe at nationals one year, man. One of the
Just for fun. Just for
yeah.
fun.
I ain't gonna lie, man. We got kids out here 8 years old handling it way better than I do, so it's
I'm actually
you know,
I've been like, this is who I want to be when I grow up. Like some of these juniors are
out there
freaking boss, man. Oh my
right,
gosh.
I don't, yeah. I was a good handler in the 90s. That's a different game.
Yeah.
Well, what's different?
Huh? We were young. That was different. A whole lot was different.
We're just gonna go different.
Yes. Hey, one of my mentors told me though a couple years ago. They said, "Look, because man, I'm not the best handler by any means. My wife handles our dogs. That's the best handler for our dogs. But they said, put the lead in your child's hand. Let your child just go up and down with the dog because they have an absolute love for the dogs and they can find the gate and things like that. It's just crazy watching them. So my daughter, she's 8 now, Kyla, and she takes the lead and she can, I don't know, just the energy that goes through that lead to that dog is so much different than the energy that I exuberate to them. And they just listen to her so much better. I'm just like, look at this. I've been fighting this dog for 30 minutes trying to get it to stack. And she just comes out there and just like, Dad, let me take it. I love it.
Yeah, that's
I love it.
That's that, like we always want to tell our dogs what to do and this and that, and that's like just a natural love bond. So
Yeah.
it's nothing like that. Yeah, especially with this breed. So yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love, and that's why I think one of my favorite things to see is it's like, it's always, obviously it's cool to see any junior do anything because wow, I wish I'd gotten a start like that. But, watching juniors with larger dogs, that for me is just something that is just unparalleled because again, it's just any number of things could so go wrong, but it's just so wild to see a larger dog literally just be like, nah, you got the lead, I'm following you, you do what you're going to do with one. Like they just do it. They just do whatever that junior wants them to do. And I've just never seen the likes of it.
That to me is the best part of ABKC, in all honesty. That's like my favorite. Out of all the things we've done, that to me is the best. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not the only registry, the first registry to do it, but that program is wonderful. I mean, that when you go to national, that's my favorite part of nationals is watching the junior.
Yes, I love it. Hey, Dave, I'm sorry, I was laughing. Ryan said that Ryan Gar said you should see Dave out there. He jogs like a girl.
You should see Ryan in the junior handler class. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we're gonna do. Oh no.
That is
When
hilarious.
stacked off party of one.
Oh man, but no, Nationals is my personal favorite show to go to every year. We've been there the last 2 years. We will go there this year. We'll go there every year, and I love it. Just the event that takes place, just how you roll the red carpet out, and it's just really just a place to go, exceed the best dogs in one building. And man, thank you for everything you do, Dave.
No, I appreciate
Like
it.
I really,
Thank you,
really do
bro.
appreciate it. Seriously.
Thank you very much. I mean, Nationals it is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It's that one chance you get to dress up, you get to go out. There's like, you don't really see problems at Nationals and all that. Everybody really comes to support because they know like we're all in this for the same reason, more or less. But Nationals for sure, and Nationals is all about competition, but it's all about respectful competition. So we do to make sure that we give that event at the end of the year because we feel like our community deserves it. Like you earned it, you deserve it. It's like it's our responsibility to make sure we give you all that type of a show. And like I hear people all the time, this one maybe it wasn't as crowded or this wasn't. The thing is, once you've gone to Nationals, you understand the energy is different at Nationals. It's a place good when you walk in the door. You feel like we are on stage. This is all about us. And that's what it is. We feel like we wanted to give a type of event that really puts you all on the platform.
Yeah.
That really highlights all of you all the best dogs, all the people that have been working all year, the breeders, the handlers. Like we just really want to give you an event that really puts you in the spotlight and really is a give back and a thank you to our community, but in a way that we all look good. And that's the point of Nationals. Is just really when people come in and they see it, they didn't expect it to be what it is,
Yeah.
And you know the energy. Last year, unfortunately, it's like we had a sold out show. Every booth was sold until the dog plague or whatever. But you know what?
Yeah, that whole thing. It's
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I got there and I was discouraged halfway through the day. I was like, you know what? We're not getting a turnout. Like, all these booths are sold, but people really got scared and it bothered me. But then when the event started, I ain't gonna lie. Last year, I've never felt energy the way I felt last year. I don't know anything else that went on, but towards the end of that event, that was the most energy I've ever felt in my life. Never, and the love was unreal. It was like, like they got 3 dogs, the 3 in the final. It's like you got 3 different fans. I seen people with signs like the year of the hangman. Yeah,
it's our game, and then the stands where people are signs and painted bodies, and you're like, what on earth is happening?
Dave, have you ever heard of a crowd that loud? At a dog show, have you ever heard a crowd that loud?
No, not that way. No, not that way. That was different. That was probably the best Nationals ever with the energy. The energy was unreal. Like nobody left like mad. Nobody left like, damn, this one should have won that. Everybody left. And it was down.
They're not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came and told me, they're like, hey, your car's about to get towed if you don't move it at the restaurant. I was like, I got a flat tire. If they move it, they move it. I got to inflate it before I leave anyways. I'm not missing this. It was not towed. It was not towed. We got home safely, but it was one of those things. I'm not leaving my seat. I am not leaving my seat for this. I am watching this.
We all need to know who won. I was like, I don't know. I mean, really, in my opinion, all 3 of those dogs in the end won.
Absolutely.
Because those 3 dogs, it didn't matter. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hangman won. Hangman was a deserving dog, a great dog. But the energy that those 3 dogs brought to the end was unreal, man. That was just unreal.
I felt so bad.
I always talk about it. I always talk about it on this line.
I ain't like, I could hang my hat up on that National.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but I could.
So good. And again, like the judge that you guys had, Joaquin, watching him dissect and watching him to the point where he was stacking the dogs in the ring for you so he could see specific things, so he could literally
representation of that dog to make the cut. It was perfect.
He went all in, and so I felt like I would never have wanted to have to make the choice that he had to make between those final 3, and just watching him do that was a masterpiece. So when it came down to last year, I really do feel like that judge selection, damn.
But this year is going to be good too. John Surtees, I don't know John, but John There's nobody that has more history than him. I mean, there's some of us that have as much history, but nobody that has more history.
Yeah.
He's been American Bully breed since the beginning. And I tell you, like I said it recently, I don't know if people heard it, but he was part of a kennel called Cutthroat Kennels. Cutthroat was a kennel in Northern California, and they were the first to cross the line of putting edge to Gotti. Like, we were all in this community together, but the Gotti people stayed with Gotti people, Edge people stayed with Edge people. We were together, but we never crossed the line of breeding. We had two different concepts of dogs, two different histories of where we came from, and we never crossed that line. And I believe Cutthroat Kennels, in my opinion, was the first to do that. That they created dogs like Corrupt was a big dog that I remember. There's a few of them from that day, but John was part of Cutthroat. So he's not only been here from the beginning, but in my opinion, his kennel that he was part of was the first to do what I feel made the American Bully the American Bully. You know, I felt like it was that combination of everything that gave it its look, you know, and I credit them for that. So I don't think you can find a better judge than John Certeza I mean, Joaquin was great, and it's hard to beat a Joaquin.
Yeah.
But the history of John Certeza goes deeper than anybody else. So
yeah, I was super excited. I mean, and the thing is you guys have done an exceptional job thus far of selecting your judges for this. And like, you know, having, you know, Chris White be the all breed, you know, and you know, that year, it was just one of those things where, and then having John Certeza this year, and then, oh my goodness gracious, it is, there's my brain fart coming in. Who's the other judge of nationals?
Pablo Lucerne.
Pablo, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I mean, you guys are just, I mean,
Pablo,
they say that nobody bats 1,000, but you guys are getting pretty close.
yeah, we do the best we can, but we have good judges. I really feel like we have good judges. I mean, I know there's people that critique things, but I mean, our judges really do have a lot of training. It's not like we just sign somebody up and make you a judge. I mean, you have to have proven yourself as a breeder and a competitor prior. You know, it doesn't have to be an American Bully breed, but in breeds in general. And then you still got to go through a rigorous training. I mean, you have to go through all the testing of all the breeds. You have to get 100% on all your testing before you're even allowed to move forward into the apprenticeship program. And even that, you have to at least do 3 apprenticeships under senior judges, and they all have to give you a good rating. I mean, there's a lot of steps to get to be an ABKC judge, you know, and it's, I think, you know how dog shows are. I mean, you got a couple things stacked against you. Most of the people going expect to win, and you only have a few winners. So the odds are stacked against you on that end because the majority is going to leave losing, you know. They came thinking they're going to win, and the majority leaves losing. That's just the way of a show. And the other thing is the consistency of the quality of the breed right now. We're still not, you know, we're still very far from where we want to be. And it's like, it's a difficult thing. You know, I've gotten in the ring a lot thinking and see, you know, where we are. And it's very difficult because when you get in the ring and you start to look at the dogs, and it's like the quality overall with consistency isn't so strong at this moment, you know. And, you know, the right answer is, okay, we should withhold everything that's not exemplary, you know. But then again, if you're at shows where most of the dogs aren't, then you'll destroy the whole show environment if that was the answer. So it's like, it's hard because a lot of times you're in there and you can't pick a train wreck at the same time. You got, you know, this dog may be better on this end, but this dog's got this. Maybe this dog type is better. This dog's movements, you know, it's like, it's hard when you don't have the consistency of quality. It's hard to really say, hey, this judge is great or not great, because if the dogs aren't consistently great, then it's a very difficult thing because everybody's going to have their own opinion. Like, yeah, but that one's rear is a little high and you shouldn't pick it. But then you look around, well, yeah, but then this one's got, you know, it's like, it's very difficult, you know, unless you're going to be so strict that you're like, no, we're withholding everything. But we're too young to be that strict to where we decide we're just going to withhold anything that isn't exemplary. And, you know, we're not quite there yet. You know, we want to be, the breed isn't quite there. And when y'all go to shows, I mean, I ask everybody the same question. When you go to the dog show and you look at the ring, how many dogs in that ring do you feel like are dogs you would want to own or breed to, you know? And the answer is always the same, very few. You know, and that's really the state of where we are at this moment. Not to say people don't have good dogs. but the breed overall still has a ways to go. And when the breed gets to where it's consistently quality, you can actually judge your judges better, you know. But it's hard when the inconsistency is there. So
That's
I
fair.
think
That is very fair.
Well, and Rolando Mata, actually, at one point we were able to have him talk to us. And one of the things that he said that, again, it resonates is like every once in a while, like one of our guys will say something that just static cling. And like, it's just something that we repeat, you know, and we just add to the things that we like to, you know, continuously say. But he said, bring better
Yes.
dogs, bring us better dogs. If you want to have better choices made in the ring, you know, instead of just handing us the lesser of, you know, or the best of the worst, bring us better dogs. And I was like,
that
God,
I'll give
right
it,
in the gut. There we go.
there was a post recently in Europe, and it was like they were upset because a dog was picked with a high rear, and then the dog that lost was a gorgeous dog, right? And in the photos. And even me, I was like, I have to see this in person, because if this really is the case, something's wrong, you know? So I went to a show recently in Europe and got to see the two dogs. Well, first of all, the dog with the high rear was a horrible photo of the dog. And when I got to see the dog in person, the dog didn't really have a high rear, maybe slightly, a little bit, but not anything like the photo. And then when I got to see the gorgeous dog, the dog couldn't support itself rear. Like the dog
Yeah.
could not support its own weight. The back feet turned out, and every time the dog was standing, he'd have to sit back down. When the dog moved, it would almost collapse. So then I'm like, this whole hoopla and all this stuff was
Hoopla.
brought up, pictures. Yeah. And I saw it too. I'm like, yeah, how could this gorgeous dog lose to this dog with a high rear?
You
And
had
then I see
questions too.
that wasn't even the case at all, you know? And I had to tell the guy, like, hey, I'm sorry, but the reason your dog lost is because your dog has an actual issue in his rear, like, you know? And I had to show him and explain it to him. So it's like, you can't believe all these things, like, you know,
Yeah.
put out there. Sometimes people will purposely put a bad photo in a good photo,
Yes.
you know? And I
But
was,
I love that you went to actually see those two dogs, though, to really
Yep.
make sure your judges are making the right judgments. You know, there was a hoo-ha or hoopla, whatever. But no, but you
Oh
went to make
my.
sure that
the
it
word.
was
Yeah.
something that your judge made the right decision that you can stand behind.
Yeah.
Because there was question marks. So man, good on you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
I didn't even plan on going. It was a show in Romania, and I was like, I have no time to go, but I have to go because I need to see what's going on with this. And in the end, that the judge was right. You know, I couldn't critique the judge at all. You know, I mean, the truth is, neither dog was great. You know, but neither one was so bad that he should have withheld. You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's not always going to be the case. I mean, there is always human error. There's always going to be something. You know, I mean, there's no 100% way, but we do watch our judges and we do our best to ensure that. And you know, we hear things, we do listen to the public, but you can't believe everything you hear. You know, I mean, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
So yeah.
the nature of the game. Most of the people lose. Very few win at a dog
There
show.
we go.
I hear you. Well, Ryan actually has a good question. Since you were talking about, you know, you were going through these dogs as, you know, flaws and you know, trying to kind of get to the nitty gritty of it all. He wants to know like what you feel is like the biggest fault, like what your big pet peeve is that needs to be bred out.
Short shoulders, the short upper arm.
Oh.
I
And
think
do you feel like that's a hard one to breed out?
and it's almost impossible. This is a crazy scenario because so we have the short upper arm, right? And short upper arm causes two things. One is it does give the rear, your rears are higher because your dogs are lower in the front. So now that causes a higher rear in the back. And it doesn't mean your dog has bad angulation. A lot of times it means that if your front's lower than the back, you have a high rear. It's a whole nother scenario than bad angulation. But the thing with this upper arm is it puts more pressure on different parts of the body, and it's actually created more muscle in the shoulder. So you have a situation of something that is a defect that is counter because it's actually creating other more appealing features, if that makes sense. So you have something here in the breed that is not correct, and it's bad for certain parts of the breed. But the flip side is because of this, the dogs overcompensate and become more muscular in other areas, and visually that's more appealing to people, because now you have these overloaded, muscled up shoulders, but a lot of that is because the muscles have overcompensated because of the short upper arms. So it's like, it's a weird thing, because it's changed the look of the American Bully breed, and it is actually a defect that is causing things to visually, people like the way it looks better, you know? But that's my peeve right now, because I think like it's detrimental in ways, because yeah, you might be developing more muscle, but you're developing more muscle because it's overcompensating, you know? So that's my issue with the breed right now, and I don't have the answer to fix that, because now that we love the way that the look of that is, hard to figure out how can you correct it, but still
Yeah.
keep it that it calls it you like, you know, and it's difficult, you know.
Do you feel that happens obviously more so in either pockets or standards? I mean, XLs, every once in a while you'll see one whose front ends are
Well, we're only
noticeably shorter than its back, but
yeah, I'm not talking about high rears. I'm talking about
well,
specific sort of.
as a result of the lower upper arm. Or short upper arm.
Yeah, it's more prevalent in the pockets. You're seeing it more in pockets and some standard, not really plaguing the XL at this moment. But I think it's due to the bloodline from. I honestly feel that was a trait that stemmed from Dax, and I think that it affects the offspring. And Dax obviously isn't in the mix of the XLs, so it's not something you're seeing in that side of it. My personal Dave Wilson pet peeve is the fronts. I like dogs with tight little feet and straight feet. You know what I mean? I'm a stickler.
Oh yeah.
That's my own personal pet peeve. And as far as the real issue in our breed, it's the hearts. I mean, if we're really going to be honest about our breed, we need to start looking internally in our breed. I mean, it's almost become normal for puppies to have heart murmurs now, you know? And it's almost become like a thing where like, oh, it's a level 1, level 2, don't worry about it. If level 3, you know, grade 3 or higher, then it is a problem. And it's like, there's a problem when a grade 1 heart murmur is a norm. You know, that's telling you something, you know.
You're like, that shouldn't be the norm. Oh my gosh.
And then palates is another issue, soft, elongated palates, whatever the case is, a different. I mean, our dogs are having breathing issues because of the palates. And another issue big time in our breed now is anxiety. A lot of people lose their dogs to anxiety. The after effects of anxiety is almost identical to a heat stroke, you know, so a lot of dogs suffer the same thing. The throats close up on them and they can't breathe and they die. You know, similar, and, you know, these are the real issues that plague our breed right now, are palate issues, heart issues, and the shorter upper arm, you know, different for different reasons, but yeah.
So, and this is a question we ask a lot of our people that are, you know, either actively breeding or they've been breeding for ages. So you got a litter on the ground, you're going through them, and you're intending on keeping, you know, 1, 2, however many. How long are you waiting before you make your final picks? And what are you exactly looking for to determine which ones you keep?
Before I answer that, I'm going to answer one of your comments there. We do put on, if you have OFA, pin hip, any of those things, we add those to your pedigree. So when you have any certification of cardiac testing, or, you know, any of the hips, joints, and any of the testing that you do, any testings at all, we have certifications that we put on the pedigrees that,
Nice.
you know, have that. So we already do that. Your question, shit, I don't know in this modern breed, because my day, my dogs are 6 weeks old. I'm not on you. I can tell like a razor's edge, true razor's edge dog, pit bull now, right?
Yeah.
That's so I knew my dogs. My dogs had a look at 6 weeks that they would always return to. From after to like a year, I would tell people, put them away. What I told you at 6 weeks, that's what they're going to come back to. Now it's harder, and I don't know, because now you get little dogs that, shoot, they're at 6 weeks old, they look like a little miniature adult, you know, or 8 weeks old, they look like a miniature adult. Then
you don't have to trust that blood. It's not taking its time.
So they look like 6-week-old dog, you know, like what the heck, you know, like Benjamin something, you know, I don't know. Like, it's
correlation. Oh no! Oh no, that might stick. Oh no!
It's a little hard there to give that answer now, to be honest with you. In my day, it was a 6-week-old, and you knew what you had. Now it's hard, because a lot of these things, they don't develop right away right now, or some dogs develop super fast right now, but then they fizzle out, So and other dogs, like my dogs, don't even mature till they were 2, so it's hard. It's hard with the new. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta trust that blood. Sometimes you're just like, oh my God, this lanky face, what is happening? Oh my God. And then, obviously it's turns out okay.
Now they go through weird things. It's like they look good at ages that they shouldn't look good, like at the lanky age.
Yeah.
And then when the mature age, then they get back to the, what the hell?
Yeah. Up and then out and then up and then out and then up and then
Yeah.
oh God.
I'd be the best person to ask the advice on that for the modern dogs, because I'm not heavy as a breeder with current dogs, So.
I respect that answer. I know Jerry James said in a book, it said 8 weeks, 1 day. 8 weeks,
but
one day is the best time to really look at, because like Dave just said, he said his blood at 6 weeks, they revert back to that when they're fully grown. 8 weeks, 1 day is, I guess, the modern day, what a book says, they revert back to that look once they're fully grown.
But remember what I told you about books.
Yeah.
Normally, it's true. Books are normally written by one person's experience.
True. That is very, very true.
Yeah, breeding is not a one size fits all.
Yeah, if I
never has been, never will be.
On my experience, I would be telling you 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But now that I've seen it through other bloodlines and other dogs, it's like I can't give you that advice anymore, because it's not true to everything.
Yeah.
Different. It's hard. Books are very difficult. It's like, I don't want to bring too much about the Merle stuff up, because that's a heated topic, but the research done on a lot of that is done on breeds that have hereditary issues, that already have genetic issues, that are like, if you're going to do a Merle study and use a Great Dane as your base for data,
you're already swimming in the current with the Danes and the Harlequin. I mean, it's bad enough that they're Danes without it.
It's like you can't even go on books anymore, because it depends on what they use for their research.
You're absolutely right.
So it's hard,
Yeah. Hey, Dave, Ryan's got another good question. I love Ryan's questions. These are pretty good. He put, what is your favorite kennel these days, and why is it Monster Bullies?
Hands down, it's Monster Bullies. Hey, Ryan.
I can't even deal with him right now.
But yeah, hands down, it's Monsters. What is my favorite kennel? I don't have a favorite kennel, because I mean,
you can't say it anyway.
I respect those that have
can't say it. Don't say it.
Well, I'll say it like this, because a lot of people can step up and say I have a program. I respect the kennel that has a program, that has a plan. That's not just in it for the dollar. That says, hey, you know what? I have a goal, and I'm going to breed towards my goal, and then when I reach my goal, I'm going to learn how to continue my goal in a sustainable way. And that's what I have respect. People with programs,
I like that.
Hey, Dave, look, I heard a while back you said you wanted to create a Merle. Is there any way possible we gonna be seeing a Merle in the national champions?
In the what?
In the national
actual national show ring?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a
you don't know yet.
That's a topic that we really revert back to the community for. It's a divided thing. I mean, there's some people that are very strong against it, but are very strong for it, and they both have good arguments if you really listen to both sides. It's difficult because we allow it in every other breed, and we allowed it in the American Bully from the beginning. We removed it from competition, but not from registration, so it never left the breed. Whether it's a hindrance or it's, a health issue in the breed is there's a lot of breeders out there breeding them that are showing that they can be bred in good ways. I mean, like I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, our community not, advanced enough to breed something that has the possibility of defects. Well, they're already there. Yeah. So it's like, if case, they're already able to register them. So if we were seeing that was a big issue, then we would be seeing that it's a big issue, and we're not. but yet we're still seeing big issues in many other things that are serious health hindrances in breeds. And that's going on way more than the heart thing. The heart thing is huge
Yeah.
in our, we're seeing that. I mean, if you're comparing Merle breeders breeding dogs that are blind and have skin issues and all that versus the average American bully breeder that's breeding a dog with a heart issue, the heart issue is the big problem, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not an advocate. I people think like I'm out here as an advocate for one or the other, and I'm really not. I'm just here to look at the big picture all the way around and just put it out there, you know. And some people hate on me for putting it out there, you know. They put words in my mouth or they, you know, say things, but I'm just putting it out there. It's like the truth is, it was here in the beginning, and we stopped allowing it for competition. We didn't stop allowing it for breeding. So all of the bad breeding practices that you're fearing, they're already there. I mean, they would already be here because we never didn't allow it. You know, I personally think that if you put them in the ring, then that helps the situation because now it gives the people using them a chance to see the better quality ones, you know. But that's just an opinion, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll see what the community does. You know, right now we said we'll allow them in fun shows for this entire year. ABKC registered ones, not unregistered ones.
Correct.
ABKC, right?
That's
And
the baseline. Like they have to be ABKC
Yeah.
registered regardless.
so it's not
At
a
minimum.
not a financial thing. I mean, it's a true topic. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is a topic in our community. Whether you like it or not, it's a topic. It's there, you know. So, you know, and we said we'll let them in there. Nationals at the end of the year, so we'll allow them in the showcase, and it, you know, it's really up to them. To be honest with you, it's really up to the Merle breeders. It's really up to them to show up and show out and to prove their point. And if they aren't able to prove their point, then that falls on them.
Yes.
You know, fall on me or anybody else. Up to them. I heard somebody put a post out there like, any Merle people coming to ABKC, you're a sellout. Da, da, da. I'm thinking, you're a sellout to come? Like, you're asking for us to change this. So we're saying we're giving you a platform to show and prove your point. But if you do that, then you're a sellout. I'm like, whoever writes things.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It is.
It's super. It's so counterproductive. It's just like you fought for this. Like not even just you, but like your associates, everybody else who's been, you know, an advocate for this Merle pattern. It's just like everybody. This is the opportunity you're giving them to be like, listen, I want to put
showcase it. It's a showcase for a reason. That's he literally named it showcase. Showcase what you got.
You're giving. Yeah, you're putting them in the public eye. You're shining light in dark places. You're literally giving the public who might not be a fan of Merles the opportunity to actually see them in action, because for the first time they're going to be at an ABKC show, performing in the ring, in basically what would be the equivalent of a confirmation, and just be like, look at these dogs. This is the best of the best. See, they're not that bad. Stop freaking out. The sky is not falling.
But it's really up to them. I mean, it really is. If you come out and you show up and you show out and you bring, that's why I said exemplary, good quality dog. We're not talking.
You did. You're very specific.
So, like, it's up to you all. And if you all bring them and the people see them and, you know, oh, all my lights are turning off on me. Everything is solar light. It's really up to them. But it's like that whole argument just got crazy. I look back at it. I was like, I mean, it's like we're not putting it in the main ring on that. It's not. It's a showcase on the side early on in the day, like we always do other things early on in the day. You know.
Yep.
But you also got to understand, people come and go at nationals. Like there's a lot of people just come, not dog people, like all, you know, come and go. So you want other things going on too, you know. So we always highlighted the more extreme dogs in other ways because those dogs they're part of our breed, and all breeders know at some point in time you use something like that. So it's like, you know, to give a spotlight in a way that it's deserved is right. You know, it's like they're not show dogs. I'm talking over extreme stuff now, you know.
Yeah.
But food quality dogs, and you know, a lot of people use them, and they end up being the crowd. You know, the ones that draw the crowd. I mean, whether you like it, that's the type of dog. You know, so it's like we all have a platform because they're ABKC registered. You know.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember, like, so thus far I've been on like a mini campaign myself where like if I'm like scrolling through Facebook and I see someone that has like, because I've seen some people who have some beautiful dogs that literally, like, they are breed standard. The only thing that puts them outside of the actual breed standard is their height. Like, they're just an inch shorter than they ought to be. And so at that point, like, I'm sitting there, like, I'm asking these owners and these handlers and breeders and whatnot. I'm just like, are you going to the showcase? Your dog is what people actually need to see, because just like you said earlier, some people, when you tell them micro, they're sitting there thinking, and I'm guilty of this in the very beginning. I will be the first to admit that I was misinformed. I did not know until I saw one for the first time. In my mind, I'm thinking micro. I actually kind of throw that into the exotic category, and I have this misconception, right? I saw my first micro miniature, just a bully that was just beneath that pocket minimum, and for the first time, and it was at a show in Troy, actually, and it was mini Jaws, and like, literally, you take Chumper and you just literally shrink Chumper into this tiny, and the thing is I just remember seeing that and be like, that is nothing like what I had in mind. And I actually, like, this is a bad little meatball. Like, that was my introduction. And I feel like people need to actually see this, because they might have the same misconceptions.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem, is just the misconceptions. I mean, it's like, we're not looking to add an extreme class. We're not looking to add a micro class. Those weren't what we were intending. The extreme, and I say extreme because people are saying it. Really, we're talking overdone dogs is what we're talking about. Those dogs that are too much for the show ring, the mass and everything, but the ones that people will use in their breeding program, and a lot of people need it in the program. Yes. We always cited that, so that's nothing different than what we've always done. The dogs under the height, I mean, it's a true thing in the breed right now, that the breed has gotten smaller in a lot of ways. You know, we're not talking about talking about pockets that are shorter than what the standard calls for. So, you know, and the Merle's the Merle. I mean, it is what we call it blotch, just to clarify that. And the reason that it just, because there's misconceptions about that too. So Merle is called different things in different breeds, and Dachshunds is dappled, and some breeds is Harlequin, and some breeds it's blotched. Some of the people say it was never in the pit bull. That's a lie. There are actual pit bulls that were Merle from real breeders, you know. But anyway, some of those breeders use the term blotch, like the old dogmen use blotch. So the original Merle breeders in ABKC, the original ones that brought their dogs into the stud books when we opened up, they chose the term blotched for their dogs, taking it from some of the old pit bull terms. So that's the reason blotched is in our breed. Some people are like, oh, had to hide it. No, we didn't. That's what the original Merle breeders decided. We want this term blotched. Like in Dachshunds, you wouldn't call a Dachshund Merle. You would call it dapple, you know?
That's right.
So that's all that is. It wasn't even us that did it. It was the original Merle breeders that came in and said the term we want to use is blotch. So we've used blotch the entire time, just to dispel any false rumors about that. But, yeah.
Dang. Yeah. A lot of people don't really understand the history of it. And when you say, well, they've been here the whole time, some people, they're like, no, I don't believe they have, but you know that they have, because you're the one.
Yeah, it was, you know, a lot of people don't see the American bully outside of what they see in their bubble. We all have a bubble. We're not realizing we do, but all of us, like, Facebook is the biggest thing, right? The people that are our friends on Facebook are all within a tight group. We really are. I mean, I don't know how many friends we have, but the average person at a max has 5,000. You know, it's a tight bubble of people that breeding a certain dog and a certain look, and they think that's encompasses the entire American bully. Me being ABKC, I can tell you, no, that's not the entire American bully. The American bully stretches way beyond that. The XL, for instance, the XL in other countries is huge, and you don't see them. Even in America, it's huge. Like, you have breeders like Bossy Kennels. Bossy Kennels, as XL bullies, she sometimes comes to national. She doesn't show her dogs. She doesn't need to show her dogs. In her world, there's already a clientele for that, and it's not a like confirmation show world clientele. It's a different clientele, you know. And she has athletes and entertainers and just a lot of people, and then she sells dogs up to 50 grand. I mean, but we don't see those dogs in our world because they're not part of the confirmation side of it, you know.
Right.
But this breeder here that's got a huge following of ABK, and they're ABKC registered, they're American Bullies. It's just an example of how when you go overseas, there's tons of XL. In the UK alone, there's over 10,000 ABKC registered XLs. That's a shit load of dogs. XLs. I actually think that the actual number is 9,000 something. But anyway, XLs, that's a lot, but we don't see them because they're not in our bubble. So the breed is way beyond what we think it is. Even in Merles, like what we see in our world is a very small piece of Merle, right? It's huge other places. I go to Europe a lot of times, like, damn, y'all really good looking Merles, but we don't see them. Like, nobody even knows they're there, you know? So, you know, and even on the Merle thing, I think, like, people they're mixed about it, but, like, again, it's already being bred. It's already allowed. It was never not allowed. And my feeling is this: when you make something taboo, you make it popular, but you make it underground popular. People will spend more money for it to become more popular, but it's unregulated because it's underground popularity. When you make something you allowed in the show ring, now it's more regulated because everybody can see it. And unfortunately, you'll probably lose the popularity that you had when you made it a taboo. You won't have the same. The influx is probably going to go down. You know, it's not something that Merle breeders want to hear, but I actually think, like, you'll be forced to have more quality dogs when it's in the public eye in that type of atmosphere. But you know, that's what I think about it. But anyway.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
It was nicely
That's
said.
very,
Nicely
very well.
said.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, in all reality, that's what I feel like the showcase is gonna do. It's gonna again shine light in darker corners where people had these misconceptions about some of these varieties, where they already have these preconceived notions, and they're gonna see these dogs in real time. They're gonna be able to put eyes and hands on them. Your judges are going to be able to put eyes and hands on them. And I think that is a first step into really kind of making sure that people realize just how versatile this breed still is.
Well,
You know,
the showcase for the blotched Merle and the dog pocket we're doing as a confirmation style show with Lou Manipon, our actual judge, because we want the people to see what these dogs actually look like in that environment. The extreme thing is still going to be more like, you know, back off style. You know, that's still what it is. So that's the way we were doing it. But
that's what I thought I'd read. Because I mean, again, you were very, very hyper specific with like what you were expecting, and I think that was very, very important. And I think that was just like you said, it was really overlooked. You know, people were more worried about, you know, feeling that the sky was falling, but no, I mean, you literally said it. You said the best of the best. That's what I want. Like, you bring me the best of these varieties.
I said,
or don't.
I want to see the quality dogs, but I also wrote it, and then I went back and I went through the Meta, the one where Meta does it for you on Facebook. So I looked at it, I said, oh yeah, that sounds way better than I wrote. So
Your own personal editor. How nice.
It confused people too, because after I read it, I was like, that sounds really good. I don't know what it means, but it sounds good. So I put it out there. After people read it too, like, what did he say? I don't know, but it does sound good.
Oh my God.
Sure, approved.
Oh goodness,
That's crazy.
Go to Facebook, it says give what Meta thing a chance, and it says you want to like give you option. One was professional. I said, yeah, let's do professional.
Admin hard at work.
Yeah, we
That's
need
that
professional for
AI.
this one.
I woke up the next day to like 10,000 messages. I was like, holy shit. Yeah.
Meta, will you answer all these for me?
Yeah, does she do that?
I'm not doing
Like,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a rough 24, 48 hours. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
Oh,
accused of everything. Somebody like, oh, you did that on purpose to mess up somebody's show. I'm like, how the
Oh,
heck?
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Lord.
It was, yeah. God, was that? Which one was that? It was one of them. It was one of,
No,
yeah. But I remember, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure, like, that's not what this was. He said he was going to make an announcement.
I posted on a Wednesday, and it was like, I don't even understand that concept. But I mean, we get accused of anything. It hurt me than it hurt anybody else, you know?
Yeah.
That, you know, back from it was like, I got, and then I had Bully the Kid, who I love Bully the Kid, but then he wrote the same thing, but with micro in it. I'm like, oh man, you did even worse for me, man.
Well, you did the same thing that I've been doing this entire time. Like, micro, mini, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. But it,
At the same time, just like you said, it's like we don't know what we're going to call him. And so, like, Chris kept on having this, like, he kept on correcting himself. Bless his heart. I love him.
and we did a good live, so that was all good. So
It was.
now it was just,
pretty good live.
I think everybody understands now what it is. I just hope the people show up and show off, because
Yeah.
them that won it. So it's like, you won it, so here's your opportunity. And if you don't show up, then you only hurt yourself at that point, because how can I even fight for something if they can't prove it themselves, you know?
Exactly.
So we'll see where it goes, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so either way, I mean, honestly, Nationals is about the best dog. I mean, there's a lot of attention was put on the sideshow, and that's fine. I mean, I hope everybody comes and watches it and people participate in it. But I mean, obviously, Nationals is Nationals. I mean, once the champion class starts and those things start, there's nothing that's going to stop people from running to
Everyone's flocking. Everyone's flocking.
Yeah.
Tow my car. Go ahead.
And you know, Nationals, if you've ever been, I mean, it's about the community. So even before it starts, I mean, we honor veterans, we honor, juniors, we do the whole thing where we bring in all the top 10 dogs,
Yes.
the dogs that won here from every breed, and we announce the winner and the trophy, and we do there's so many things we do at Nationals that just besides the actual Nationals event, that are all things. It's you guys' community, you all. Like, our job is to highlight you all, so to highlight the community and all the positives in our community. So that's why we do it, and the energy will always be good. So I hope people realize, like, okay, we're gonna come out, we'll see what that's about, but we're still here. What we're really here for. I mean, we're really here for the main event, and the main event is still the main event. Not to take away anything else, but the main event is the main event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, I have a question from our fourth crew member, Michael Hageson. He wants to know, do you think XL class is making a comeback in popularity, since we've noticed that a lot of judges seem to not prefer the XL versus standards and pockets that they are in the ring with at the time?
Yeah, but I will say that the popularity of the XL is huge, not necessarily in the ring, but I don't think a lot of people realize how big the XL's community really is. The XL is huge. I mean, it's a huge, we don't see, you go to a dog show, ABKC, you might see 10 or 15, maybe 30 at a good show. But XL's a whole, the popularity of that variety is huge. Like I said, I mean, look at the situation in England. 9,000 XLs.
Yeah.
Our had to do these statistics for the courts, to prove, the case. And when we did the statistics, it shocked me. 9,000 something were XL. 2,000 something were the rest of the bullies. That's a difference. How many more XLs there were? The pocket.
Like they big dogs.
So the XL is huge. Now back to the dog shows. Yeah, finally you're starting to see some. They're getting better. They weren't. I mean, let's be honest. The ones that were coming to the show weren't the best XLs. I mean, they were very lacking in a lot of ways. A lot of them are more terrier. A lot of them were something else. I don't know what the word is. Oh. True. We all know that, it's true. But breeders have listened, though. We've been giving advice for the past 2 years, hard on it, and they're listening. And you're starting to see how, winning best in breed, so it's like, yeah, it's coming. It's in my opinion, in the show ring, it's the weakest of the varieties, but in the breed itself, it's not the weakest of the varieties. So it's time that it starts to show itself off in the show ring, and it's coming up in popularity. So I think you're going to see a big change in XLs over the next couple of years in the ring.
That's what we wanted. I mean, we've said it a million times. I mean, I mean, again, we have a heavy following in the XL community, and that's one of the things that we drive home all the time. It's like, show up, bring out your XLs. Like, there's so many beautiful dogs out there that just exude that breed standard that just, they don't take them out. They don't show them. And you're just like,
Yeah, the best XLs are not at the shows. I hate to say it, but they're not.
right?
But I've given the same advice for the past few years, and it's like you all have to get your frames right. You're missing the frame. And I've had to tell a lot of breeders, in my opinion, you need to just go back, breed to a standard dog that's carrying the frame, and work with your offspring from that point on, because you can't create the frame from you don't have it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and if you can't find it, then go to the standard where at least you know you can get it, and then go back into the XL again, you know?
Yeah.
Generation, you got to get your frame right first.
Yeah.
So you can't, an XL to me doesn't mean just a tall dog. You know, that some people are like, oh, my XL is a tall dog. It still looks like an American bully, you know? So not Marmaduke, you know?
Right.
So
It's like, that's, and again, like your breed standard, it's just like you said, it tightened up, and it literally, it says the XL is the standard, but taller and
nowhere
thick.
and it doesn't say Clifford, you know?
Right. It doesn't say, your friendly neighborhood red big dog. Like, no, it just says a standard but taller. So like literally it's just taller. It's the same framework. Everything is the same. It's just taller.
Where?
That's it.
Not a rectangle. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a triangle. But yeah.
Hey, listen, some of them, just saying.
But no, they're definitely getting better in the ring. I mean, I've actually seen some I like now, which is, you know, something to say, you know. So
You wouldn't be willing to share any of those names of the ones you like, would you?
The one Tristan had. Tristan had a gorgeous XL, and then he sold the dog to the Philippines. I was like, man, what are you doing? Like,
legend.
That could compete for that variety at an event, maybe like a nationals. Damn, man, you sold a dog, you know. But you know, it is what it is. He still got good dogs, and hopefully the guys in the Philippines they bring him out and start doing. But that was, I don't know the dog's name, but that was a good looking XL. I thought, you know.
Yeah.
I don't
Legend, wasn't it, Amanda?
It's a fawn. I don't know.
Yeah. So Tristan had Champion Legend, and he was literally like, there's actually one of my favorite pictures, is literally, it is Zero and Legend standing right next to each other, and they literally look the freaking same, except for one's slightly taller. And it's just one of those things that I remember seeing that picture and being like, that's what the XL needs to go for. And then he sends him to the
Damn it, Tristan Batista. Damn it.
I was like, man, I don't know what you're doing. Why you did that?
I know. I was like, why did you say that?
Yeah. So
damn.
Beautiful dog.
Yeah, he was. So I hope they do something, but I haven't seen him since. But the Philippines is hard because their climate over there is hard. It's hot and it's humid year round, so it's a very hard climate for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the dogs that come from here over there, they don't do well for a while. It takes them a long time to acclimate. So sometimes a dog sold there and it disappears for a while, and it's because it needs to acclimate over that type of.
Has to adapt. Well, yeah, I think Spartans.
Zeus.
I think Zeus is over there.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zeus is.
The one of the three from last year.
Yeah.
Grand Champion Zeus is over there now.
Like I said, some of our best are over there.
Yeah.
I know.
Man.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, and our best.
Good for them, though. Like really, this.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Does anyone got any questions? Because Dave, man, we can wrap. I have appreciated this, and I enjoyed this more than most. So again,
always.
But if anyone else has any questions, let's get some last minute questions in there before we get Dave off here.
No worries.
Because
whatever y'all need. I was looking forward to it when she said 8, and then when Amanda wrote me back and said Central Time, I was like, oh shit.
Seriously, like I don't really know what I'm going to do past 7. Like, oh God.
Oh shoot.
I told him he was a good company. I mean, literally, Dave, if it makes you feel better, today at some point, I tried to dial out a phone number on my calculator on my phone.
Oh my God.
I had my calculator out, and I was, doing some math with, because I was at work, and so I'm doing some math, and all of a sudden I was like, oh crap, I got to call this vendor back. So I'm dialing the number on the calculator, and I'm wondering why it won't dial out. I was like, oh Jesus, I need to go home. I need to go home. I think that's my cue to go ahead and clock out. But so Dave, you're perfectly fine. You're in great company.
No, I was saying up you on that. I actually literally I tried to put my granola bar on my phone charger today and walk. No free time. I'll try to put up my phone charger and walk away with my phone. The granola bar. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, ain't got nothing.
A really shitty reception. I can't figure it out.
Ballpark, you know. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now I feel better. Thank you.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. That was an all-time low on that one. Yeah.
Oh no, that was brilliant. I'm here for it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Dave, Christopher asked a question.
Says,
He said, have you ever bred to a Merle?
No.
yeah.
I myself have not well, yes and no. I've studied my dog out to way back in the day, early 2000s. There's a breeder, Taylor Webb from Pinnacle something. I forget, Pinnacle something was the name of the kennels, and he bred his Merle female to one of my blue males. And then I have a guy in Mexico, maybe 10 years ago, that bred one of his Merles to Beazle. I never have personally, like in my own program, but I have 2 people that have used my dogs, yes, in the Merle program. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Both before it was made a DQ in the show ring, but you know, yeah.
Asterisk.
Clear.
Yeah. I think if I had done it since, I would have been ridiculed. So I probably just stayed with somebody.
That's smart.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the interest of self-preservation.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
see here. Anybody have any last minute questions? Anybody? I've asked everything I've kind of wanted to go through. Caleb, you
No,
got.
Dave has covered more than enough. Every question that
Yeah.
I've had and more, and I appreciate the transparency. It's been incredible live.
No
I
problem.
agree. Bruce, you?
Oh, no. That's it. He done covered everything. And I asked what I wanted to
I
ask.
know, right? You're like, we covered it.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I love it. Well, yeah, guys, I think that, you know, I think we're solid if you are, Dave. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and talk dogs. I know that you're a busy dude and it's way past your bedtime right now. So I
It's almost time.
definitely am very grateful.
You know, old people, the only time to get up and go to Denny's. For real. No, I appreciate it. Y'all ask some good questions, so I like that. Sometimes people ask questions of the normal, but I like the fact that y'all hit it on everything, so I appreciate it. And I appreciate what y'all do. It's fun to do things like this and keep your lives fun and interesting, so I appreciate what you all are doing for the community. Really, Amanda, appreciate your hoodie. Love that hoodie. So,
Hey, listen, I'm looking forward to what he's got this year, the one with the blue and the black. Baby, I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm getting this year. I'll see you there. I'll see you
all right,
there.
well, we hope to see all y'all there.
Absolutely, we'll be there.
All right.
So, all right, well, y'all have a
All right,
good
y'all.
day. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely.
All right. Good night, y'all. Peace.
Absolutely. You gentlemen have a great rest of your evening.
You too.
All is well.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.